I'm Tim.
And welcome to the inaugural episode of Tim's Take, where we've dragged Tim out again, which is good. We missed you, Tim.
Good to see y'all, folks.
I was looking back at previous Nick and Tim videos and realized that I almost always have a creepy mustache. Like the last time I did it, I think I brought it back for it. The time before that was in like the Christmassy stuff, well, it was there, so yeah. It's joy.
It's on again.
But Tim's Take is where I bring Tim in. We chit-chat about guitars that I've already done reviews for, or like gears that he's got, something like that we can then talk about and chit-chat about. And the first one that I wanted to do today was actually the Bad Cat EC-335, which was like a 335, 355 style guitar from China. They got a video up, an unboxing was up. She's pretty.
Oh yeah, quilted maple.
Yep.
Very beautiful. I like it. I like the finish for sure. That's cool too. Different kind of grain going on in the back, as you can see. It's just kind of more of a straight wood grain than you get here.
Your prettiness.
Looks like the bottom of the ocean or something.
That's my nose.
So, my overall impression is nice work on the finish. The body itself does resemble a 335 in most way I can see. It's got a nice chunky neck. It might have went a little too far, you think, with the
inlays?
These are nice. They're nice, but see, one of the things I pick at are just small. They're not make or break deals. They're just,
and Tim's more of a like traditionalist, reserved kind of finishy kind of deal. But it's maybe definitely over the top.
Maybe just like a nice ivory or something to complement the. I mean, it's definitely not bad. And what would you call that?
It's abalone.
Abalone.
It's genuine abalone shell in the neck. I like it because it ties the whole blue thing together.
It does. It does.
And they did the headstock matching at least, so it's a nice little deal. I have irrational love for the kitty cat on the headstock.
Yeah.
I think it's just, so does my daughter actually too.
It's beautiful.
But it's really cool though. I mean, if you're trying to do, I think especially with those guys is they try to, the finish is really where they can separate themselves from some of like your normal Epiphone stuff or whatever that gets put out is they can try and put like something impressive that jumps out at you just so that it's not just another cherry 335 dot neck kind of
That's true.
copy. But it may not be everyone's ball of wax. Cup of tea, something like that.
Yeah, sometimes I think like the abalone would look more, would stand out more if this was a little less
different color.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
For a guitar that's not super expensive, the pickups sound pretty nice. Overall, I'd say it's good. Like I would entertain picking one up myself.
So they offer, the cool thing about these is
what are the other options?
they've got it in like a black and gold, so it's like a Black Beauty style Lucille kind of deal with that full. So and normal inlays a lot like this guitar. They do it in like a vintage burst, which was similar to like my Harley Benton Tree of Life that's staring at me back over there. I think I have a vintage burst around me over here. But the cool thing with those guys is you can call them up and be like, I want it in, quilted, transparent, deep green.
Yeah, and they'll
do it up for you in
Wow.
6-8 weeks, something like that.
I don't know of too many companies that will do that for you.
No, not really. Like anything, I think the bridge is probably not the best bridge you're ever going to buy in your life. Stop till wheel doesn't make a big difference. Any of your cheap, inexpensive, many of your cheap, inexpensive guitars, you're probably a really good thing to do in the first year if you're going to play the hell out of it is swap out the bridge, and this is no exception. But you can pick up a Tone Pros for $50-$60. You can pick up a Godot or a Wilkinson or something like that. That would be a step up from this, but it's still this will work fine for a while. It's just they may not hold up.
This is a good, my first 335 kind of guitar.
Yeah.
I would say. Any dudes out there who have been rocking one of these for a long time might be a little disappointed by it, but I mean, again, your channel in general is drawing people to other alternatives that save them money that are nice sounding instruments, and this is right up that alley.
And what's great about this is I think the bones are great.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you played this for 6 months a year and you decided these pickups, you really wanted insert pickups here, swap the pickups out. You want to upgrade the bridge. You want to put different tuners on it in time. You want to put a really nicely cut nut, do stuff like that. Like I think it's a great thing that even if you've spent a couple $100 on it, over the first few years of ownership, you started at a cheap enough spot and you'll have like a nice platform to rock out on.
Do they do any unquilted versions?
Yep, they've done they do a flame, they'll do a plain, they'll do a solid color type stuff. So it's cool, and it's not a copy, it's not a Gibson. It's a Bad Cat, which is cool. I'm sure Gibson might not be thrilled about the shape, but
what do they call it? What's their
the EC-335, I believe. Although I could be wrong. I was trying to find this one isn't up right now for sale on their site, so I'm not sure the exact one.
It has Grovers on it. Did you put those
on there? It does have Grovers.
How did those get on there?
They're not real Grovers.
Oh, really? They fooled me.
They still use some of the factories that also produce some of the knockoff shit. Yeah. And the Grovers on there didn't leave a real Grover factory. I've actually talked to those guys about it, and I'm like, listen, just put a no-name one, or put the same tuners on that just doesn't have Grovers on it, just so you get out of the whole business. And they're trying to, it's really guys that used to make knockoffs trying to go legit.
Yeah.
And do like their own line. They've got a Unicorn, which is their like Les Paul style, but it's got a slightly different horn on it, and it's got that headstock, so it's no longer like a full copy. They've got some Telly and Strat stuff. I'm hoping to have soon. They do a Gretsch-caster or a Cheetah-caster, so it's like a flame maple orange, controls just like a Gretsch. Gretsch inlays on the neck with a Bigsby on it, but it's a Telly with a 24 3/4 inch scale.
This looks about as good as any Epiphone Dot I've seen. Probably for what? Almost half the money.
Almost half the money, yeah. Or the 335 Pros. And like, if you want a guitar that announces itself, like it's not a shy guitar. Like I can see that. Like the person.
She's no wallflower.
Yeah, like she's just one of those things that like if that unbound neck Epi Dot that you might have had for a bit just kind of bores you and you want something that puts its best foot forward. That's where I can see this one kind of fitting in.
Yeah. I like the neck. It's, it's not... It's not a windy neck. Dynamic sweep from neck to bridge.
She's sweet.
All in all, it's not bad.
They're not wax potted, so with high gain, the pickups will squeal.
Yeah.
Which I discovered when I got it and cranked it through the Mesa, which is fine. But she's semi-hollow, so she won't feed back. It's really just the pickups aren't wax potted. I've got two things coming for this guitar. In a video soon, we're gonna add a Bigsby to it because
Because
Of
it's
course.
Nick. And he has
Because it's
issues.
Nick and I
He
put
has
Bigsby's on.
Bigsby issues.
My wife walks around and she's got 2 Bigsby's on her. No, that's weird, but could happen. So she'll get a Bigsby, and then I think I'm going to pull the pickups and do a video on how to wax pot pickups.
Yeah.
Because there are people that tell you don't wax pot it because that's how the PAFs were way back in the day, and you get more of a soul out of them. And then there are people that love a certain set of pickups, but they do feedback. So it's really just dipping it in candle wax. Seals the whole thing in, keeps things from vibrating too much and squealing. Everyone's happy. So I want to do a video for that. But all in all, though, not a bad deal, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering if your plan was to upgrade the pickups anyway. Would they ship you one for less money without pickups?
I think that their
Probably
costs.
not.
So these are actually Epiphone branded pickups. They probably get in the Chinese market. I know Epiphone moved away from their standard Alnicos into the Pro Buckers and stuff. So I think that they were able to buy these in China super cheap. So it probably adds like $11,
Yeah.
$8 to the cost of the guitar. Plus, here's the thing: if you're gonna buy from like one of these small manufacturers, if it's in China or Indonesia or even a local guy, get it so that it makes noise and plays when you receive it. You can always take crap out, but like I've heard stories where guys will get it with no strings, no electronics, no whatever. They put strings on it, and there's the strings and the bridge orientation and all is all wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's never been strung up, it's never been quality tested, and
Yeah.
that's for some factories that's their equivalent of quality testing is just put strings on it and make sure that it doesn't buzz and ship it out the door.
Yeah.
So
That's
just
a good point.
my piece of advice there.
I can't get past this tuning thing. I'm not going to blame it on the guitar. It could just be
No, it might
these
be on the
strings.
guy who cut the nut.
Or it could be these fake growers.
Nah,
No.
I'm gonna guess it's the nut.
Oh, you cut this?
Yeah. It came in. So a bit of history. This thing came
It looks
in.
a little deeply beveled.
It's adventurous.
Yeah.
I was using some new nut files that are apparently horrendous.
Should this be flush with the neck?
Not always. You can
No.
have it as deep as possible as long as it doesn't catch.
Yeah.
But it came with rough frets, and the nut had been like 1 or 2 things had been cut a little, but nothing. And I think really, we've talked about this in the other videos, they had a new factory, didn't have great quality control, a couple handfuls, I think close to 20 got out the door in similar shape with frets that had to be totally filed down, some of which had to be seated, and the nut wasn't cut. Because of that, Jason Chengzi, who's from Bad Cat, is the guy who runs the show over there, is actually sending out a replacement guitar or an additional guitar to make up for it at no cost. And I know they've taken care of, or they're taking care of, the other guys that were so affected. So from a guitar setup perspective, we're going to hold out judgment until I see the next one, which hopefully at some point...
This action is a little high, a little smidge, just a smidge high. Not really deal breaker, but...
The bummer, too, is like the seasons are changing here, so the heat's on more in the house, and I think, this is the time of the year when setups shift, especially in the Northeast.
Well, if the segment is truly Tim's take, one of my takes is any guitar that doesn't stay in tune or will not stay in tune is just, because, I mean, face it, you can't play the thing without aggravation and frustration, and no matter how great it sounds or how it looks, it's just you're always going to be bummed out about that fact. So I would take a slightly less guitar that never went out of tune over something.
Or if you're going to put effort into it, instead of putting a Bigsby or wax potting your pickups, like go after it, and I'm going to replace the nut on it too.
Yeah.
But like go after, if your guitar doesn't stay in tune, like give it some effort, some love, or drop it off at someone that can help figure out what the deal is there. Especially on the G string. My guitar tech, I actually spent way too much time over there the other day, and he actually angle cuts the nut just for the G string, so there isn't as much tension, because that's the one that has kind of it's the one on the Gibson that always goes out.
Yeah, it's always that funky.
So he's got a way he cuts the nut that it works better for that way, and if I can do that in the video and show it off, I will. But anyway, so overall grade?
Overall, I'd say this is like I don't know. It's like a B, All
right.
It's like a kid that's maybe doesn't fully apply himself to get to the A, but
I think she's still a little bit of love away from being an A, which is, I think, for a $250, $260, $300 guitar shipped to you from China, where $80 of that
for a
is...
$250 guitar, it should be like a C minus. So
Yeah.
You know, you can get it up to like a B plus or maybe an A minus with, you know, some work. But it is a nice guitar. I don't want to slam it too bad. I like how up in here, like this is a nice deep blue. Some of the blues on these things almost look like so dark that they're like black or something.
Yeah, like it's a happier blue.
Yeah,
A cheerier blue.
it's they did a great job on the finish. The shape is good. The neck is chunky and thick and healthy. It feels good in your hands. It looks as if the you know, the machinery can always be replaced. So long as it's set up right and it stays in tune, this thing would be A-okay.
Fantastic. Well, with that, I've been Nick.
And I'm Tim.
And obviously we've got issues. Thanks for stopping by, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz.
See you next time.
Exactly.